Greetings. This is Arvat McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more. Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. And today's topic is George Floyd gives us new breath. Hey, Scott.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully.
Oh, good. So it's a really interesting time in our history. Like this 2020 has been something else, and it's not even halfway over.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, I think, because from I guess with the start of the pandemic, it was like you kind of got this feeling like nothing's ever going to be the same.
Right.
And then when this happened, it's like, man, we know nothing's ever going to be the same. And it was funny, not funny, that's not the right word, but when I heard, because I didn't watch the video of George Floyd, but when I heard about it, I just, I cried, but the reason why I cried is because I was just so appreciative of him giving his life in this way. And obviously it wasn't a conscious decision, like, oh, I'm going to be a martyr.
Right. Yeah, he definitely.
I knew from that point, I knew, like, as soon as I really heard, like, just really understood what happened and that we all watched, I knew that nothing was going to be the same, that this was, our tipping point.
Right. Yeah, that was. I definitely have a lot of love for him as well. Just to be willing to, even though he didn't do it consciously, spiritually, from a spiritual place, he made the decision to allow this to take place, and even just down to his last breath, to still hold on to his dignity the way that he was there. Just, yeah. Yeah. I don't even really have words right there.
It's really nothing to be said or nothing. There's no words to really express like the depth of feeling that I think everybody really has right now. It's just so many different emotions for so many different reasons. It's like just so much. It's just so much. But I think what I want to say is that this, for me, I think the reason why I realized that this was the tipping point, I don't know, like I said, the everything has changed. Like we already kind of felt it once everything happened with the pandemic, that everything was going to be new.
Right.
And I felt then, and I feel more so now, that it's all for our betterment. Like everything we're moving into a better space, and this is all for our good. And so I'm super excited about how we're going to be on the other side of this. And of course, not to so martyrize
George Floyd and not consider what his family is going through, like the emotions of his family, and then all of the people who have gone before him in the same way.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully this is like the end of it.
Right.
And we finally reached the tipping point where we know what it is to be human, and not just for people that we know, but to be humane to everyone.
Right. Right. And you know, and as I was kind of having some conversation a couple of days back, that's about this whole process that's kind of going on, and you know, with the pandemic, you know, a lot of people were beginning to feel a lot of fear, a lot of separation, and fear is kind of a lower vibrational level, whereas anger is actually a higher vibrational level than that fear, and you know, where we all are striving, we all internally, we want to move all the way up to love, to peace. But we've been all hanging out just in the whole world in this level of fear. And, you know, and with people having masks on, we can't see smiling faces, we can't gather around, we can't get hugs, we can't do handshakes, we can't do high fives, do that dap, you know, we can't do any of that type of stuff like talking about right now. This, you know, so the whole world is just feeling in this low energy level. And so right now, as this catalyst with, you know, is taking place here with George Floyd, um, is allowing people to move out of the energy that we've been in, and we're stepping into the fear. But again, I'm sorry, we're stepping out of the fear into the anger, into, you know, moving towards the love. And so some of us are automatically kind of jumping up to the love, but that's the direction that we're all moving towards. And so from that perspective, it is a beautiful thing to watch. Just, you know, his, and I use the word loosely, but his sacrifice is what is that catalyst that helped bring us all the way across the world up out of this negative energy that we've been in, or this low energy that we've been in, to lift us up. And you know, so I'm looking forward to seeing what actually comes out of all of this and where we'll be. Right now, all I know is that it's going to be in a better place, and and we'll be in a place where we're connecting to that love more completely. We're going to move to that place where there's more joy, there's more peace, you know, there's more connectivity. And like I said, I don't know the whole process of what it's going to take to get there, but I can see that momentum taking place. And when you know, when you have the entire world, I mean, you've got people in London and other countries and stuff that are gathering right now, you know, because of George Floyd, you know, just all over our country as well. And so just all that connectivity is just powerful. And the people just wanting to get out to be a part of something larger than themselves. And, you know, and making that statement for where we are choosing to go from here. Just like I said, from that perspective, it is just a beautiful thing. And I'm just looking forward to seeing where everything unfolds as we move forward.
Yeah. And I think too that as an African American, and being engaged in the African American community, you know, obviously for all my life, one thing that I can say, I can't say 100% across the board, but that I can say with confidence is that we tend to think of ourselves as victims in America.
Yeah.
And we tend to think that, you know, we're being held back, that we're being oppressed, that somebody's got their hand around our throat, you know, all those things. And even though in our own personal lives, we've always been powerful. You know, we've always been able to make a way out of no way, you know, like we know how to survive.
Right.
So even though like in our personal individual lives, we're powerful and we know it, but when we place ourselves into the broader spectrum, we still feel like victims. And I think that this situation is going to actually help us to realize we're not victims, not anymore anyway, because we have the chance to step into our power, step into recognizing that we are powerful and that we are creators and that we can create the futures that we want to see. I think so long we've been looking outside of ourselves and basically saying they're not respecting us, they're not treating us like humans, like we don't matter to them, and y'all need to do better. And I think now we're going to start turning the tide where we're like, okay, we need to do better. Like, how can we love ourselves more? How can we step into our power? Why are we begging someone else when we have the power to turn it around anyway? And we've had it all along, but I think that this incident is what's going to help us to really see that we do have that power to turn it around and get it going in a direction that, like, we almost can only think of how to improve things, like take what's going on and make it better. But my challenge would be not how can we improve upon what's going on, which would be terrific, but to think about what would be your ideal situation. What's the ideal scenario? It's weird because I've always conceptualized certain things, and then when you go to other countries and you see how it is, you're like, oh, I don't have to just accept that little bit. I could have all of this, and I can't think of a example. The only example I can think of right off the top of my head is I remember seeing like all of these statues. It was like all of these statues because, of course, we in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, we have what we call Monument Avenue, and it's
Right.
like all these statues of like Confederates, and it's not a street that I don't think most of Richmond is particularly proud of, but there have been things happening to try to improve that corridor. And we do have Arthur Ashe on that road. Do we
Right.
have any others on that road?
So I don't remember the name, but there's the statue that's at the museum, which is I think right on Monument and Arthur Ashe Boulevard. So where they come together at, and so it's nice. There's a statue over there.
Yeah.
Just a little different.
So I like in thinking of how to make things better, I was like, yeah, we can have a couple of statues of people of color, and we can either get rid of or downplay some of the statues of like Confederates or whatever. But then I don't even know where I saw, but I saw the whole everything was a person of color, like every single statue, and I'm like, oh, like that's possible.
and, yeah, and I think that's so. Yeah, like you say, that's the change of mind to kind of think about not just how to improve, but what is actually possible. To just get our past out of our way, to just release all of that, so that we can look at the unlimited level of where it can be. Yeah, I like that. I like that thought pattern.
Yeah, so I think reconceptualizing who we see ourselves as people of color, and then stepping into our power. And I think that when you feel like you're restricted and constricted and you can't breathe and all that, you can't see possibilities. Like your options are limited. But when we get to this space where it's like, okay, I'm powerful, I'm loving, I'm a creator. It's like it takes the shackles off, and then you can start viewing. Because I think for me, like all these years up until now, whenever I hear about, okay, yet another killing, yet another killing, yet another killing, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what can be done? It just seemed like it was so big and out of control, and like, like it felt like your hands were tied, like there's nothing that can be done. But now I feel totally different. I'm like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. Like I just got this whole list of ideas. I'm like, oh, and that'll be easy.
And, so I'm not at that place yet, and I would love to get there. And, a lot of times when I think about all the stuff that was going on, when I think about like George Floyd's situation, I kind of even connect back to some things that have happened to me with police officers over the years and getting slammed across cars and all that type of stuff, where I'm just out exercising, and so it's easy to kind of still get pulled back into the memory of those particular types of things. And, so it takes an effort, I guess, for me to still release that, to be able to move even back into this place of, all right, right now I'm safe. And so that's a whole new place to kind of, to be able to begin to see, you know, the shackles completely removed, just to, to see all of that. And I'm open for it. I'm definitely open for it.
Yeah, definitely. And, as a Black female, my experience obviously is totally different from yours. And I spent 10 years helping to raise Black boys. So I probably helped to raise over 100 Black boys. And in that, I was always very aware because they weren't my children by birth, but I felt like they were mine. Yeah. And I always felt like, because as I say many times before, I'm just afraid of everything. Like, I'm just afraid of everything. And so when conceptualizing, like, how do I do this with Black boys? Because I don't want them to be like me. I want them to be assertive. And I want them to feel like their opinion matters, that it's okay for them to challenge authority, that they don't have to accept mediocrity. And I had to balance that with you're a target. And that's every mother has to do that.
Right.
Or every parent, I should say. I shouldn't say every mother, every parent. And I remember one time we were in the Walmart, and I used to like to go to the Walmart on the overnight. And so it's nobody in the Walmart, it's just us. And so the kids are, doing what they're doing up and down the aisles or whatever. And I'm way on another aisle, and I hear them go, code red or something, code red, aisle 12. I was just like, oh my God. And I just remember taking off running. I was just running so fast, trying to get to that aisle, and then getting there. And it's all these police officers standing with their guns pointing to my boys.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't want this to go in this direction.
And it is a balance that we have to, that we've been having to keep, that we've been feeling like we've had to keep. But hopefully, as we begin to see ourselves as not the victim, as things coming out like with George Floyd, and where more stuff is being recorded and the world is seeing things from a different perspective, I believe that a change of heart, a change of thinking is going to unfold as this year comes along. As this year, as the second half of this year comes into play. I believe that it's going to be a new era, new thinking, a new heart level that will show up. And even though some of the old energy may still be there, it's transforming. And I believe that right now, just as we're, even as we're talking, that hearts are being changed, thoughts are being changed. And I believe that as we change our thoughts, as we change our hearts, we begin to change our experience. When we kind of talked a little bit before we started recording here, just with the police officers in Miami, and just how as the protesters came up, the police officers all kind of kneeled down and asked for forgiveness. And I don't recall hearing that happening anywhere else right now, but I like to believe that with them doing that, in Miami, that maybe other police officers will have that same energy. As I was watching some of those pictures of that experience in Miami, I'm seeing, police officers and some of the protesters actually embraced and hugging. They're saying there was a lot of crying, a lot of healing that was kind of taking place there. And, that's a beautiful thing. Just even seeing some of the pictures and reading about it, I can feel an emotion. I can feel a healing kind of, on a certain level kind of taking place within myself. And so I believe that more and more that's going to take place. And it's a catalyst right now, like I say, so it's a speeding up of the process that's taking place right now. And so with scenarios like what you talked about in Walmart before, with scenarios like that, that will begin to happen less and less. And, and I like, as you were describing before, what are the possibilities? Where can we actually go? If we all begin to hold that vision in our mind, in our energy of no longer being the target, right? And maybe just the target just doesn't even exist anymore. And so where we're all on equal playing field, where we're all remembering that we are not just separated, but we're one. I was listening to this amazing speaker trainer the other day, and so one of the things that you said on your class was that you love the word universe for to use in place of God, or the divine, and just all of those are great words, but you enjoy the word universe because it means uni is one and verse is song, and so that one song. And so I love that description that you used there in your class. And so to think about us all singing that one song, that's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Look up the words to. Do you remember that song, John Lennon's song? I shouldn't try to sing it because I can't sing, but it's like, imagine there's no heaven. It's just like imagine. I think that's the name of the song. Do you remember that song?
Kind of. I don't remember all the words, but yes.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the words, but I just know the heartfelt message is, just imagine if there were no countries, if there were no hardships, if there were no, religions, like just nothing that was keeping us separate. Like, what would this world look like or whatever if all those boundaries were wiped away?
Right.
And I think back then, whenever the song was out, I don't know if I know when the song was out or if I just remember it because it's such a classic song. Like, I don't know if I remember when it was actually out. But when I first really listened to the words, I didn't really understand. I didn't understand what it meant to imagine if there are no countries. Like, what does that mean? Like, I couldn't conceptualize what was this man talking about. What if there was no religion? Like, what are you talking about or whatever? But as I got older and re-listened to the song, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that really would be a beautiful thing.
Yes. Yeah.
But one thing that I do want to say is that what do I say every time? Put our attention on what we do want, not on what we don't want. And also to feel it. And so I think one of the things that we have to practice is feeling in our hearts what we would want someone else to feel. So by the very same token that I'm saying, I need you to be more loving, and I need you to be more humane, and I need you to be, okay, I need to be that too.
Right.
So I want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, explode, make those feelings so explosive in my own heart. Like, feel love in a big way in my own heart. I want to feel peace in my own heart. I want to feel power. And I've used the word power a couple of times, and I just want to clarify what I mean by power. A lot of times we're kind of afraid of the word power because we conceptualize it as power over someone else. But I mean, when I say power, I mean our power to create. That's what I mean. So feel that feeling in your heart. Make it so big, and then feel it in you first. As they say, get home right first. Feel it in you first, and then invite other spirits, other souls to come in as well. And so it's nothing wrong at all is if you can feel that feeling, that big feeling of love, and then invite, let's just say Donald Trump, invite our president to feel it as well. Invite people who are still not in that space to feel it as well, but don't come from a judgmental place, like, like they've done something wrong, because they have not. They just aren't in this space. And if we can help them to get to this space by feeling it ourselves and then inviting them into that space with us.
And and for any of you out there that are kind of wondering, well, if I'm feeling something, is that going to make him feel it? Just think about the emotions that you may be feeling right now as you're watching this podcast, as you're feeling the emotions that, right now, Arvet has been really emitting some strong energy. And chances, I know I'm feeling, and I imagine that you all are feeling that too. And if you're able to feel it right now just through this video, that means it's real. That means that it has real life to it. And so feel an energy, like she's saying, feel the energy that you would want to feel. Feel the energies you want others to feel. Feel it completely, intensify it, multiply it, magnify it as strong as you can. Allow every cell in your body to feel that power, to feel that love, to feel that connectivity, and to just know when you're in that energy that whoever you begin to bring into your mind, that they're going to pick it up on some level as well. And so right now, I know that we're emitting out this love to you. Hopefully you can feel this love. I believe you can feel this love. You can feel this power. Connect with it. Time doesn't matter. Connect with it right now even. And as Arvet mentioned, just to bring in the president, bring in police officers, bring in people that you will want to feel this energy, because as the entire world begins to feel like what we're talking about now we're creating that space that is more like the song that Arvet was just mentioning, so that there are no separations, there are no countries, there are no religions. It's just love. It's just people knowing the truth of who they are. And so know that it works because you feel the feeling right now.
I love that. And one thing that I've been doing, maybe for the past month, I've been asking God or the universe to show me who I am. Show me who I am. Show me. And I think that's something everybody can ask, like, just show me who I am. And so what I'm doing with that is, anytime I see evidence, like, oh, that's a sign of who I am, I accept it as evidence and not just wipe it away like coincidence. And so one of the things that I had come up with in my brain when I was thinking, like, what can be done? So one of the things on my list was, should a police officer, or basically it should be legislation, and one of the legislative things would be, if a police officer kills an unarmed person, that the whole police department will have to be retrained, and the National Guard will come in, take over the city while the police department is being retrained, and the police administration has to be reorganized. Then I hear that in Kentucky, something like that just happened. So there was in a demonstration, a peaceful protest. The cops got involved, and because I think they were trying to enforce curfew, somebody fired a shot. The police officers began shooting into the crowd. Somebody ended up dead. Another Black man ended up dead, unarmed. And they don't know whose bullet, like they don't know if it was they haven't found out yet whose bullet shot him, I think. However, yeah, the police chief got fired as a result. And I can't remember what else. I don't know what all else has happened, because this just took place. I think the person got killed on Sunday, and I think the actions took place yesterday. So I don't know all the details, but I was like, okay, I just put that out there, and already it's being picked up. And so a lot of times we don't know what to do, but if we can feel it, we can think it, if we can envision it, it can get picked up, because that's how powerful we are. It can be get picked up, and it can be taken and realized without you having to do much more than send your energy, your love, your vision towards that thing.
Yeah, yeah. And so a lot of times, like you say, it's so much easier than what we think it is to affect change. So the work is all done internally. You didn't go in to talk to any politicians, and you didn't have to go do that type of stuff. You didn't have to go and blow up a police station. Yet you went inward and connected to your higher self. You connected to a higher energy. And now to be able to send that energy out that way, from that place of love, from that place of connectivity, and to see that change start to take an effect almost instantly. And we all have that power within ourselves. And so you was talking about power a little earlier. We have that power within ourselves to affect change, to affect the entire world around us. And we just got to connect to it. We just got to remember it's there.
Yeah. And then also, like, in terms of not knowing what to do, of course, you can always do what your heart tells you to do. And it may be something that's just in your corner of the world, or it could be something really big. But just like, oh my gosh, just the number of people who are taken to the streets for the peaceful protest is just so heartwarming, because it's people from all walks of life, and all economic, all colors, all religions, everything, and all countries, as Scott has mentioned, because I have heard about other countries that are chiming in as well. But what does your heart tell you to do? Does your heart tell you to go to a peaceful protest, or does your heart tell you to organize at the community level, or does your heart tell you? So one of the things, because like I said, I came up with a little list, right, of what I would think. And like one of the things I was thinking was better mental health screenings. So for people who want to become police officers. And so then if that's something that you know how to do, or that's your specialty, then start designing mental health screenings for officers, or another thing I had on my list was having virtual simulation where the officers to be will be put through these simulations, kind of like to help manage their stress. If technology is your thing, start developing simulation programs or whatever your niche is, just how could that work towards something? But whatever you're doing, do it with love. Like, it's just pour it out from a space of love, and love of us as a whole human race.
Yes. Yeah. Well said. And look, a lot of people are at home right now still, looking for stuff. This is the time to go ahead and put together some plans if you're being guided to do that. And so you got the time now to actually lay it all out, just to, type it up, to program it in. This is a time. This is a time to make some drastic changes. Because I know that, all this catalyst is doing something. It's taking us somewhere. And each one of us has a role to play. We don't necessarily know what our role is, but if we're open to that guidance, that guidance will let us know what that next piece is. I often say to people, and I know a lot of people right now are praying for guidance. And so, I often say that prayer is when we're talking to God, is when we're talking to the universe. Meditation is when we're listening. And, so sometimes we have to stop and just be silent, silence our thoughts, and just allow the information to come back to us to help guide us into the right direction. And so if you're guided to do some of the things like Arvat was saying, or maybe something completely different, this is the time to step out and step up and do that.
Yes. So we actually have run long, so I think I want to wrap it up. But I think in general, I just want to again just give my greatest appreciation to George Floyd for the sacrifice that he made to push us to this tipping point. And I think for all of us, for African Americans in particular, to start reconceptualizing who we think we are. Who do we think we are? And start moving from a place of victim powerlessness, because I think that's what happens oftentimes, that every time up until now, when we hear about another life that was taken, it's a feeling of powerlessness. Like, what do I do? Is like that. And so moving to a place of power, feeling like I'm a creator, I'm creative, and I don't have to be a victim anymore. And then, as Scott mentioned, pray and meditate, listen to what the guidance is, and feel it in your heart, feel what you want to feel what you want to feel, envision what you would want this world to look like. And if you are called or guided to do anything, do it, and do it from a place of love. But at the same time, don't feel like, oh, I'm not doing anything, because you just pouring out your good love and energy, and inviting people to feel that space too, that space of love. That's what needs to happen, and that's almost everything. So, any closing remarks, Scott?
But I think you just said it beautifully. So nothing else to add. Just I'm thankful for your being here today, and just the energy that you have, and the love that you have. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you joined me on this conversation. And you are my heart, Scott. All right. Until next time, guys, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Enjoy.